What's going on, guys? It's NYPrepper here, and I have a friend of mine. He's a local prepper, and we're going to start a new series together. We're going to do fireside chats. We're going to talk about current events and different things. And in this video, I just want to introduce you to my friend here. He has a prepping channel. It's called Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, right? Or
Correct.
Hudson Valley Survival and Prepping?
Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival.
Okay. And his name is Mike. So I'm just going to ask him a bunch of prepping questions and survival questions. And so this way you guys can get to know him, and hopefully you check his channel out. So stay tuned and we'll go through some of these questions, and hope you enjoy the video.
The rip.
Alright, so how long have you been prepping, and what got you into prepping?
I've been into prepping for probably about 6 years now.
Okay, 6 years.
The thing that really got me into it was when I was in the patriot movement, and everybody was all guns and ammo and body armor.
Yep.
My friend Old Mutt looked at me and he said, "What are you going to eat? The ammo?" And it really clicked for me. And at that point I started to, store some food and learn some gardening and things like that to be able to, grow my own food, be a little bit more self-sufficient.
Yep.
But yeah, that was the big trigger for me, was when he said, "What are you guys going to eat?"
Right. So your friend got you into it, basically.
Yeah.
But what about, was there anything like in particular, like any political things that were going on at the time that like kind of influenced you a little bit?
Yeah, it was during the time when they were ringing in the SAFE Act here in New York.
Okay, 2012.
Yeah, and everybody was, buy guns, buy ammo. And Old Mutt looked at me and said, "Buy food, buy water, store your water."
Yep.
So that was the big send off for me.
Okay. All right. That's so 6 years, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Okay, but you've been an outdoorsman your whole life, right?
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's not like you're new to shooting or you're new to camping or survival.
No, it was just new.
New to like storing food and all that kind of stuff and bug out.
I had nowhere to start. I started with the buckets with the Gamma Seal lids, and throw my bags of rice in there and get it going. Beans in this bucket and rice in that bucket. But I've diversified and I learned a lot. Especially on YouTube. There's a lot of great channels on YouTube that help people out and get them started with what they need to do.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot. All right, so we'll go on to the next question here. Is how would you describe yourself politically? Are you a conservative? Are you a Democrat, a libertarian? I know the answer, but...
Oh, I'm a registered conservative, which in New York State means I don't get to vote unless there's a general election.
Oh, wow.
We don't have primaries for conservatives in New York. We're dinosaurs here. We're literally almost extinct.
Well, you could vote Republican, though, right?
When the time comes, I tend to go with whoever's on the conservative ticket.
Right.
And, the lesser of two evils, unfortunately. I've been one of the lesser of two evil voters for a long time.
Wow.
I should have voted Joe this last one.
Joe?
Joe Jorgensen. Joe Jorgensen.
I was going to say Joe Biden.
Yeah, no, sir, no.
Joe Jorgensen.
Yeah.
I'd never even heard of him. Where's he from?
She was the libertarian who was actually on the ballot that nobody talked about.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people said that she was the one who stole the election.
Really?
It's true.
Okay. Oh, Jill Jorgensen?
Joe Jorgensen.
Joe Jorgensen.
Yeah, Joe Jorgensen.
Okay. So you would say you're libertarian and conservative?
Yeah.
But obviously you vote Republican pragmatically sometimes.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, you have to.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, there are not really that many conservative candidates at all. I mean, either in New York or anywhere.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's very rare. So, that's cool. Yeah, that's, I mean, I kind of figured that, but... Yeah, I mean, there's not many actual registered conservatives left, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who's a registered conservative. Everyone's a Republican now.
I haven't seen anybody running.
I think Sean Hannity might be a registered conservative.
Yeah, me and him.
Yeah. It's very rare. All right, cool. So moving on to weaponry. If you had one rifle, one shotgun, and one pistol for SHTF, what would they be, or what are they? If you only had one of each, what would you pick, or what do you have now? Or
I would pick a bolt-action .308 rifle with a scope.
Okay.
I would pick...
Like a medium power?
Yeah.
Medium power.
Yeah, medium power, medium distance.
Low to medium.
But a really common ammo. 308 is,
very common.
That's a very common caliber.
Sure,
and,
sure.
If everything did fall apart, I think that you might be able to scavenge or find some.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah,
and
definitely.
Then shotgun, Remington 870.
Remington 870.
You can't go wrong with
that's
old
what I
reliable.
have. Yeah.
Old reliable.
Well, it's used by cops for so many years.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's proven itself.
Oh yeah, time and time again.
I mean, the Mossberg is really good. The military actually did tests on the Mossberg. The Mossberg 500. They did. They put it through some tests in like the 90s, I think.
Torture tests.
Yeah, because they were considering making it like standard issue for like some of the room clearers.
Yeah.
Especially like in the Middle Eastern wars, they wanted like a. But so it did pass a lot of the torture tests. But I mean, the Remington 870. 50, 60 years, right? In police use. So.
And again, something really common that if you had to scavenge parts for,
yep.
You could probably find one in just about every closet in America.
Yeah. I have both actually, and I noticed that the Remington 870 has a stronger lockup. Like when you close the bolt.
Yeah.
It has like a more solid
grab.
More solid. Yeah, it's just a more solid lockup.
Yeah, the 500s always felt
kind of sloppy.
To me.
Yeah, like a little, which is good because it's like the 870. You got to really force it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is good and bad because if you're like a woman or something, it may be hard.
Yeah.
But it's good if you're a dude because you slam it. You have to slam it hard so you won't double feed or get it to jam or something like that.
You get a good cycle on it.
Get a good cycle on it. Yep, exactly.
And for handgun, I would say anything 9mm.
Okay, anything 9mm.
Just because it's so
common.
So common.
Plus low recoil.
Yeah.
Low recoil.
Something anybody could handle.
All right, that sounds pretty straightforward. And so, what is your SHTF knife? Do you have one, like a SHTF knife, or like a knife for your bug out bag or anything? Or
I have an axe. I have an SHTF axe. It's the CRTK wood chogan.
Okay.
Okay. And the head pops off really easy, and I can store it in the bedroll with the handle, and then the head inside the bag, so it's not hanging off the outside.
Makes sense.
And I keep it pretty sharp, so I can use it for multiple things. Between that and the little handsaw that I carry, I'd say I could cover most of my bases.
Okay.
But no, I do want to get a good fixed blade knife, but I'm so undecided. There's so many good ones out there.
Yeah, there is a lot of good
good ones out there. The Tops knives seem to be
are good,
leaning towards those, but
I like Benchmade. That's what I have.
Yeah.
I have a couple of Benchmades, but some guys don't like them for some reason, but I think they're made in the U.S.
Nice.
I think they're they're made in Oregon, I think. Yeah,
awesome.
Benchmades are good. I would look into Benchmades.
Absolutely.
They use good steels. They have some good designs on their knives too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would check Benchmade out.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
But that's cool, man. The axe. I mean, that's pretty common nowadays.
Yeah, it's a little more of a hatchet than an axe. Not real long handles.
Is it like a combat tomahawk style?
Kind of in the front, but with a steak pounder on the back.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of multiple use.
Okay, so you could use it to pound things in, or
exactly.
Anytime you need to have like a striking.
Yep.
Need to strike something.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So moving on from weapons, we'll talk about some other prepping stuff.
All right.
So I want to raise awareness in the prepping community about nuclear attacks, because I think a lot of preppers neglect that area, like nuclear fallout, nuclear survival.
Yeah.
Because people think it's never going to happen, or it's very low chance of like a nuclear war. But I still think it's something you should prep for. So I was just going to ask you, do you have any preps for like nuclear fallout? Do you have any, Geiger counter or potassium iodide, or have you ever like thought about anything like that? Or
I've thought about it. I think the furthest I've gotten into prepping for that kind of specific disaster is plastic sheeting and duct tape.
Okay. Seal off windows and stuff.
Yeah, that was the main goal, was to try and keep contaminants out.
Yep.
And then if you had to, you could retrofit a suit out of plastic sheeting and plenty of duct tape.
No, that's actually really good, because if you had to like go outside for some reason, like, and the fallout is everywhere, you don't want that on your skin.
Yeah.
It makes decontamination easier, because then you can just take it off and toss it away.
Yep.
Separate it away.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was the goal.
That's
Save
smart.
money on the Tyvek suits with some good 4mm poly.
And duct tape.
Yeah, 4mm poly and West Virginia weld.
That's that's a good one. West Virginia weld. All right, so let's see. So what are the SHTF threats that concern you the most? You know, EMP, World War III, economic collapse, Yellowstone eruption, Ice Age. You know, what would you say would be your biggest concern, top 2 or 3?
Top 2, I would say,
as far as
EMP or grid down.
Right, EMP or grid
two
down.
really, really scary scenarios. That's what worries me the most.
Okay.
I think you would see the biggest loss of life from that.
Yep.
So that's really what worries me the most is EMP.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, I think a lot of preppers do. Okay, so EMP or grid down. Let's see, what do you think are the most probable SHTF threats that preppers should focus on in 2021 or in the short term, either man-made or natural?
I think civil unrest is a good one to prep for right now.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, if you look at the climate of things today, it's volatile.
Yeah.
It's volatile. You know, the wedge is getting driven further, and prepping for civil unrest covers a lot of bases.
Sure.
Because there's so much that can go wrong in that situation. I think if you can hedge your bets against civil unrest, you're pretty well off for a lot of scenarios.
Yeah, I agree with that. Security, and especially security, but yeah, I mean, you could lose power in a civil unrest scenario.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just look at Minneapolis when they burned all the buildings down, the power went out.
Yep.
I mean, if let's say you lived in like Minneapolis and you know during that time when the riots were, there's no way you're going out to a grocery store if you ran out of groceries.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not safe.
No, it's not
Everything's
safe.
burned down.
Exactly. No, you
There's
have to be able to hunker down.
Yeah.
And get through the initial wave at least.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you say civil unrest for short term.
I think that's the big one right now.
What about economic collapse or cyber attack?
I think that's going to go hand in hand with any kind of widespread civil unrest.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If you get into widespread multiple states, the economy is going to tank anyway because nobody's going to be able to go to work. Like you said, you can't go outside to go to the grocery store because the grocery store probably got burnt down, and 2, it's not safe to get outside.
Yep. No, definitely not. Okay, let's see. So what would you say would be like a long-term threat that you think people should focus on, either man-made or natural? So either Yellowstone or an Ice Age.
I think the fluctuations in Yellowstone are concerning.
Really?
Yeah, there's been
last couple months there's been a lot of
geysers are going off like crazy. And there's something going on there, so keep an eye on it. Maybe another New Madrid type earthquake.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah.
It may not be like a full eruption of Yellowstone. It could be like a partial eruption.
Oh yeah, even if that thing hiccups, it could be an extinction level event.
Yeah, or even at the in the milder sense, it could cause, let's say, a summer that has like a year without a summer.
Yeah.
Where crops fail, too much dust in the sky. Yeah,
that would be devastating.
Could affect all the crops because the plains are right there. So all the silicon in the sky and everything. All right, so long term, you think Yellowstone, or is there anything else you want to add to that, or what about like World War III? You think, or nuclear war?
That's another scenario. Is the takeover of the large Asian nation?
Okay.
I think they're going to do their thing.
China, you mean?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to stop them.
They're going to expand, you think? Territorial expansion?
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see what moves they make soon with a new president coming into office and all the turmoil that's going on here.
Yep. They may try to take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's a concern.
Yeah.
That's a concern. In the next 4 years, I would say, that would be a concern.
Yeah, oh yeah. All right. Yeah, that's one of my concerns, honestly, China and Russia.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't really think about that much anymore because they feel like, it'll never happen. It's one of those things where it's like far-fetched, I guess, for a lot of people. But But yeah, China's expanding like crazy. All the islands that they have, and South China Sea and everything like that.
Yeah, they got some pretty crazy stuff going on there too with the Unger and everything. That's scary, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Some say it could be like genocide. Others say it's just re-education camps for people.
Where is this?
In northern China, I believe.
Northern China.
Yeah, I think they're called the Unger. The
okay.
Unger Muslim population.
Oh, I think I heard about that.
Yeah, they're being rounded up.
And like forced.
Especially any fighting age males.
Right. Forced to like convert or something, right?
Yeah, re-education camps. Yeah, it's scary when you see people chained together with hoods on getting on boxcars.
Yeah.
In modern times, that's
really disturbing, yeah.
Well, that's something that we said we would never let happen again, yet
it's happening.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it never happens here, but that could happen too.
I know.
So, all right, so you think China and maybe possibly Yellowstone for long-term threats?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right, so what would you say would be like the, let's see, top 3 overlooked preps by preppers, things that people overlook?
Overlook bolt cutters.
Bolt cutters, yep.
Bolt cutters.
I agree with you on that.
Bolt cutters in your bug-out bag.
Absolutely.
And then padlocks.
That's an interesting one.
Is sometimes you have to cut a lock to get into a place, but you don't necessarily want the door to be opened once you're in there.
Okay.
So you may have to,
Smart, yeah.
Lock yourself in for safety reasons, and then you have the key to that lock or the combination of that lock.
That's smart.
You can just open the door when you need to leave.
That's smart, yeah. Even like one padlock in your bug-out bag.
Yeah.
Never know what you could use it for.
Yeah, and
lock a gate too.
Good binoculars.
Good binoculars.
Good binoculars.
Okay.
Being able to see a long distance and spot danger before it becomes a problem.
Yep.
If you can avoid it and hide, all the better.
Sure.
The more warning, the better.
Yeah,
so
I think
a good pair of binoculars helps.
Okay, that's a good one. What's your favorite prepping movies? Do you have any? Or like prepping related movies, apocalypse movies, anything at all?
We watched a Netflix one the other day. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a really good movie. It was a Netflix original, and it was a really good flick. But I cannot remember the name of it.
Can't remember the name of it?
No, it was a good flick. Other than that, I would have to say, was it 2012, the ice movie? Is that what that?
2012. 2012 was the disaster one.
Yeah, the disaster with the big like hurricanes and
I think so.
New York City.
I didn't actually see it.
Yeah, that would probably be my favorite.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Apocalypse kind of movie.
Yeah, is that the one where the whole city's like under snow?
Yeah. First the water came in and then it flash froze and.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that the one where the North Atlantic current like stops or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Creates super hurricanes or something.
Yeah, I saw that one. I forget what it's called, but that was a good one too. Yeah. With the wolf packs and stuff roaming around.
Yep.
That was a good one.
Yep, that would probably be one of my favorite apocalyptic movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
That's definitely a good one. All right, so let's move on to COVID now.
Oh boy.
So do you think that COVID is actually dangerous, or do you think that it's blown out of proportion? Where do you fall on the spectrum there?
I think it's real. I've had friends who are sick with it. I've had friends who have lost family from it.
Okay.
So, I believe it's real in that sense. How widespread it is, I don't know how accurate their testing really is. So that's what concerns me is
cause of death and
false positives and everything being lumped together. There's no flu, there's no pneumonia this year. It's just coronavirus.
Right.
So that's concerning too. But I think the hospitals may play with the numbers for income.
That's a good point.
And why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You took away all of their money when you told them they couldn't do normal elective procedures where they make all their money.
Right.
And they had to come up with money somewhere.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Coronavirus.
Yeah. We gotta hold you for a couple of days. You tested positive.
Exactly.
Then they charge the insurance company thousands and thousands of dollars.
Exactly.
To hold you a couple of days to observe you or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's a good point. I never thought about that actually. You're the first person I've actually, heard say something like that.
Yeah. You always got to look.
It's all about the money.
Follow the money. Follow the money. When you can find where the money's going, you can find who's doing something.
Sure. All right, let's see. So what are your thoughts about the origins of the virus? Do you believe that it really came from bats, or do you think it was made in a lab?
So a long time ago, probably 10 years ago, I was watching something on, it was like the Animal Planet or something like that. It was an explorer show, and they were talking about the white nose disease in bats and how they could save the bats by essentially giving them a cold.
Okay.
So they gave the bats 10 years ago a coronavirus.
Okay.
And the bats got sick, a few of them died,
Okay.
but it killed off the white nose disease that was going to eradicate the bat population.
Okay.
So they saved the bat species,
Mm-hmm.
but it cost a few.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually nature takes a course. You know, they said that it couldn't mutate, it couldn't transfer to humans. They genetically engineered it so it couldn't.
Right.
And then got the bats sick with it to save them from white nose disease.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's potential that
It was man-made.
It was man-made on a different reason
Right.
to save the bats.
Save the bats.
And then,
And
you
then
know,
it jumped from bats to
unfortunately,
people.
nature took its course, and you know, it got to people.
That's an interesting
So,
theory.
I just some reason that show stuck out in my mind for all these years for no reason, and now all of a sudden it seems like there's a reason for it.
Yeah, and then they also have all the studies that they were doing in that cave.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yep,
They
on the
had
bats.
all the bats. They were like going into these caves in China, and they were like studying all the bat coronaviruses there.
Yep.
And doing all this weird
Yep.
stuff. So maybe that was related to
Yeah.
that somehow.
Yeah, well, if they were studying it, they were studying how well their work did
Right.
from early on
Yeah,
to
that's
see
what I'm
how far
thinking.
it went.
Right.
I've tried to find the video again, but I can't find it anywhere. I
Okay.
can't find it anywhere.
That's interesting. I haven't really
Yeah.
heard that before.
Yeah, it's a good theory. It's a good theory I got.
It's new.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Do you believe that COVID was a staged event or a conspiracy to bring about more control over our lives or a new world order?
That's a good question. I don't know that it was created for that,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that you never let a crisis go to waste,
Right.
and they're getting all they can out of it.
Yep.
And they will milk it for all it's
Everything
worth
yep.
until the people have had enough.
Yep.
And then they'll find something else to milk.
Sure.
Then they'll find something else.
Yep.
But
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
I really do think they're taking big time
Advantage of it. Yeah. No doubt about that. All right. So we'll go on to conspiracies now,
Ooh, my favorite.
and then we're gonna do UFOs and Bigfoot. And
All
then,
right.
And then we'll finish up after
Cool.
that. That'll be it. So about halfway through here. So what are your opinions about the New World Order? Do you think that they're real? And if so, what are your general thoughts about them?
I think that there is people behind the scenes who pull the strings, whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
You know, whether you
Secret
call them
societies.
the New World Order or the Bilderberg Group or the Trilateral Commission. Or,
Yep.
You know, I hate to go Alex Jones on you, but
Yeah.
it's you know, the guy was a little nutty, but there was a lot of facts there that he put out for people.
Yep.
And it's too bad that he was as nutty as he was, because he did put out really good
He did,
information.
he did, yeah. He got a little crazy in the end with a lot of
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
but like initially when his show first aired, I mean, he had a lot of good, the FEMA camps, and
Oh yeah.
it was just solid facts.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, he got a little bit too much, in my opinion, down the Trump train.
I think that'll happen to anybody who immerses themselves fully in that to the point where that's all you consume.
Right.
You know, I think it would drive anybody crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it would drive anybody
So you do
crazy.
think that there could potentially be a New World Order, or there's a secret
I
society?
think that there is.
Okay.
I think that there is.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely people pulling the strings. Yep.
Okay. That's, yeah, I'm the same way. I feel the same way. All right, so now moving into a more controversial question. I mean, I don't think it's controversial, but I know a lot of people do. What are your opinions on 9/11? Do you believe the official story that we were attacked by terrorists, or do you believe that there's more to it?
I think there's more to it.
I mean, I don't.
I know it happened for a fact. A lot of people say it was all, you know, green screen and
Yeah,
everything.
no,
but
it's definitely collapsed.
No,
yeah.
no. What happened, you know.
Mhm.
And as far as the official story, I think they just tell the people what they want to hear.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes we get lucky enough to find out years later the official story.
Yep.
But some of them they'll bury forever.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of weird stuff about that day.
Oh yeah.
And it's no disrespect to the firemen or the police or the troops that fought the war. I think there's a lot of like misunderstanding, you know, that like, because I have a lot of friends that are cops, and when I ask them about it, some of them get mad about, you know, when I ask, they get mad, and it's not any disrespect to you as a cop, right? It's just we're trying to figure out what really happened, you know.
Exactly.
We're just keeping an open mind. That's all it is.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it's tragic either way, you know, whether it was a staged event or whether it was real.
Yeah.
You know, the sacrifices were real sacrifices either way, you know, but I mean, we have a right to know the truth, you know. There's a lot of weird stuff about that day, right?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you had the
passport on the sidewalk.
The passport?
One of the hijackers, they found his passport and all of that rubble.
Really?
You know, almost unharmed, just laying on the sidewalk.
Really? That sounds a little bit weird.
Yeah, you know, that and the black boxes, and we get one clip of footage from the Pentagon.
Yeah,
it's the Pentagon.
Yeah, the Pentagon, that's really weird.
The Pentagon, and there's only one camera.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's strange.
Right. No, you know, there was no plane wreckage to be seen there at all.
That's right, there wasn't. There's so many things, and then the insurance policy that they took out on the buildings,
Trade Center.
Like 2 months before.
Yeah.
Or not even. I mean, that's weird timing.
There was definitely a lot of weird stuff that went on that day.
Yeah, I mean, you could really spend a whole day talking about it.
Down the rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole.
All right, so let's see. This is the last question in the conspiracies part here. This is another controversial one, but I feel like it's important because, you know, this way people get to know you and see where you stand on things.
Sure.
Do you believe that a lot of the public shootings in recent years were actually real, or do you believe that some of them could have been false flags? Like, for example, the Vegas shooting, the Pulse nightclub, and then even if you want to go further down the rabbit hole, Sandy Hook. Do you believe that some of those could have been staged?
I do believe that some of them could have been staged. The Vegas shooting comes to mind.
Vegas, yep.
Yeah, there's a lot that doesn't add up about that official story.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
You know, a 1,000-pound window just popped out and disappeared with one old guy in there.
Yep.
So, you know, there was no chain hoists in the ceiling to lift the window out or anything like that.
That's a good point.
And you're just not picking that up by yourself.
No. I didn't even hear that story. That's interesting.
And the amount of rounds and things that were dispensed, I don't think one shooter could possibly do it.
No.
Not with the magazines that they claim that, you know, anybody who really shoots anything like that knows that those are jam city.
Yeah.
And you're only getting a couple off before you've got to take it apart.
Or reload.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're thinking they would have had to have been belt feds.
The cadence sounded like a belt fed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even really hear much of the...
There's a few really good videos. Well, maybe there used to be a few good videos where they would go on and play the audio recording and the cadence of the rounds and things like that. And
you could tell it was off.
It was just perfect sequential belt fed.
Yep, non-stop.
Yep.
Non-stop hundreds of rounds.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things about that, like you know, the fact that they only have one picture of the guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
in a casino.
In a casino.
They have
the best cameras in the world.
Just like the Pentagon.
Yeah.
You know, the best surveillance equipment in the world. And the Pentagon has one camera.
Yeah, it's just weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you're kind of, you know, open to those things.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we'll move on to one of my favorite topics here, which is UFOs and Bigfoot.
All right.
And so before I get into that, I'll just talk a little bit. If you guys don't know, the area where we live in is the Hudson Valley of New York. And if you guys do a Google search on that, in the 80s and 90s, there were a lot of UFO sightings in this area here. It was like a hot spot. It was one of the most, the area where you could see UFOs like the most in the whole U.S. You know, it still is considered a hot spot, but in the 80s and the 90s, the Hudson Valley was a hot spot.
Yeah.
And I personally know people, you know, friends of mine that actually saw them. My landlord actually saw one. He said it flew right over him, and he's like 80 years old now, but he said when he was a kid, I think it was like in the 50s. He said he saw like this huge, weird plane just hovering over him. It's very crazy. I don't think this guy would lie, you know.
Yeah, what would he have to gain?
What would he have to gain?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Why would he tell me that? And he actually told me that when I was signing the lease to my apartment.
Nice. This is where the aliens come.
Yeah. And it's like, why would he tell me that? Like, what's
in case they're coming back. He's got the portal in the basement.
Maybe he's warning me or something. I don't know. So, yeah, and then we also had, not far from where we live here, there's a place called Putnam County in New York. And the county clerk was actually on Unsolved Mysteries. I don't know if you...
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, his name is Dennis Sant. He
kidding.
was the county clerk for Putnam in, I think it was up until the 90s. And he was on Unsolved Mysteries because he, saw a UFO above his house. So you could actually look it up and see. I mean, so why would a public official
lie about something like that
and
put my credibility?
Yeah, exactly. Especially, so I thought I would just mention that before we got into it. So do you believe UFOs are aliens? Do you believe that they're real? Do you think that they're government craft? What do you think they are? What's your thoughts on it?
I think that we are not alone. To think that we're alone in the universe is crazy.
Yep.
We can't be the upright and moving intelligent life forms in the universe.
Yep.
Whether they come here to just observe us or not, I don't know. But I do think it's possible. I do think it's possible. And, there's been lots of strange things around here. Balls of light being chased by helicopters.
I remember you told me that.
There's things that you can't really explain. And I'm interested to find out. Hopefully someday
soon.
we'll get the official story,
Yeah.
and know what's really going on. But I do think there's something out there.
Okay. Now, so this brings me to my next question: is have you ever seen a UFO, or do you know anybody personally that has seen them?
Like I said, the balls of light. My friend has seen the balls of light being chased by black helicopters.
Really?
Yeah.
Around here?
Yeah, right here, right down the road.
Wow.
And it was evasive maneuvers, chasing a ball of light, 2 black helicopters, and it was just before or just after sunset, so the sky was still kind of light, and you could see the helicopters pretty clear and the ball of light pretty clear.
Wow.
But that's a 10 on my weirdo meter right there. 10 on my weirdo meter.
That's a good one. Okay. Let's see. What about? Okay, so we talked about UFOs. Now, with the disclosure, do you think that we'll ever have an official disclosure? Or do you think that it's never going to happen? Like, do you think the government will ever actually admit, there's UFOs out there?
I hope they admit it before they show up with all their friends.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all I really hope for is just as a prepper, you're always looking ahead to try and what's coming next.
Yeah.
And if they just drop that one on us, I'd be pretty ticked.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd be pretty ticked. The aliens are here. Shit, I could have got more canned goods.
Yeah, or maybe like armor-piercing ammo for the alien armor or something. Yeah, but I don't know if you heard, but there was this guy from Israel. He was like the Israeli defense minister, I think it was. His name was like Ashad or something, and it was just like a month ago. He said that basically the U.S. government has a treaty with aliens from outer space, like a peace treaty, and he's a high-ranking. He's retired now. Defense minister of some kind of defense official. Right. So a lot of people think that's very credible because why would? And he's also some kind of professor. I think he even has a PhD. Yeah. So why would this guy go down the rabbit hole and risk his whole career? You know what I mean? And then he also said that Donald Trump knew about UFOs, and he was almost on the verge of a disclosure. But then then his advisors told him not to do it because it would be too chaotic for society to disclose that, but they said that Trump was considering it. Have you heard anything about that? Or?
The one thing I did hear about was early on during the Trump administration when the Russians came out and said that if you don't tell the world about the extraterrestrials, we will.
Okay.
So we're hoping Come on, Vlad.
Oh yeah.
Come on, Vlad. Let us know, buddy. Come on.
Putin.
Yeah, let us know.
Vlad. Yeah, maybe he will. That would be cool. What are your thoughts about the pyramids around the world? Do you think that those are potentially ancient alien visitors that influenced or built them, or
I think the coincidence that you have them in Egypt and in South America, and I've heard that they've found pyramids on the bottom of the seafloor in the Caribbean.
Yep, I've heard that too.
There's, you know, and I'm sure Antarctica, there's a lot of ice down there.
Yes.
And nothing but scientists, so you never know what's really
hiding down there.
The ice down there.
Yep.
But I think, you know, if you start connecting all the points of all these great mysteries of the Earth, they start to form patterns, and I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's weird, all the way that they built everything, and I mean, even like you look at the pyramids, you know, I just have a hard time believing. I mean, I find it weird that they built that huge pyramid, you know, in Giza.
Yeah.
With just horses and people. I just find that hard to believe. I mean, those blocks of stone.
And
even with machinery
now, so precise.
So precise.
Yeah.
Yep. And with machinery now, that would be a huge undertaking.
Absolutely.
It might not even be possible. I mean, what kind of machines do you have that can move blocks of stone the size of a house?
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe, oh yeah, they put it, like when I was in grade school, they told us that, yeah, they put them on pipes, and then the slaves pushed them up the hill.
They rolled them.
Come on, man.
It's Egyptian style.
Dude, you wouldn't even be able to move like a 300-pound stone like that.
Yeah.
You know, 10 tons, forget about it, man. Yeah. You need like a bulldozer to do that.
No, there had to be, in the engineering, you know, I think it's potential that in the Earth we were technologically advanced at one point.
Maybe.
Well before we are now.
Okay.
And then somebody hit the reset button on us.
Okay.
And we went backwards.
Or then maybe there was a war of some kind.
And now we're building up again.
That's an interesting theory. I never heard that. That's interesting.
That's another one of my interesting theories.
Yeah, you have a lot of them. That's a good one. That's good topics for videos.
Yeah.
You should do that, man. So what do you think about, like, do you believe that there were ever civilizations on Mars or other planets in our solar system? Do you think that there's any artifacts up there in those planets?
I think we've seen some really interesting pictures from Mars, from the rovers and things like that, the satellites and stuff.
Yep.
There's some pretty cool new ones of, I think it was Jupiter, or one of the moons of Jupiter.
Yeah, I think Europa.
Yeah.
The ice one that may have water on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it does actually.
So, you know, coincidences and 90-degree angles and things like that. It's weird. It's like, hey, what's that? So it's potential. Maybe we abandoned that ship for this one a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah. Well, they say Mars and Earth are pretty much identical. The only difference is that Mars is now geologically dead.
Yeah. And
it has no atmosphere anymore.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe it did at one time.
Yeah, could have.
You know.
Could have.
Who knows? But something to think about. Now, do you think the superpowers of the world, Russia, the U.S., China, you know, Britain, France, do you think that any of those countries could potentially have in their possession a crashed alien spacecraft or even alien bodies?
Oh, yeah.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Area 51, you know, they built it around the crash site, so...
Really?
I mean, yeah, you know...
It's interesting.
They gotta have something.
You got Roswell.
Yep.
And then there was also the Kecksburg incident.
Yep.
In Pennsylvania. Yeah.
There's some weird stuff. I've seen some video of what looks like a crash site in the Antarctic. You can see the big line in the snow where it hit.
Really?
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff out there, and I know that the powers that be would be on it as quick as they could.
Yeah, and they would never reveal it.
Yeah, no, no, hush. So, yeah, I think it's very possible.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's just there's no way. I mean, they monitor so much airspace.
Everything.
So anything that comes in, they would know.
Yeah.
You know, they have people around the clock that are like NORAD or something.
Yep.
They're monitoring 24/7. So.
Yep.
As soon as something comes in, they can just...
They've got the near Earth object thing. But the sad part about that is some of the meteorites and stuff that have been coming in, they haven't caught until after they passed us.
Really?
Yeah, like real close ones that skim the...
Is that like the warning system for meteors?
Yeah, but anything that comes from the sun-facing direction, they can't see.
Okay,
they
yeah.
can't see. So those just, you know, look out, here it comes.
Okay.
But yeah, I think with everybody watching, they had to have found something.
Yeah, I would think so, right?
They had to.
So what do you think about, this is the last UFO question and we're almost done here. What are your thoughts about Bob Lazar? Are you familiar with Bob Lazar?
No, not really.
No?
Not really.
So he was the guy that, he was actually on Joe Rogan recently. He was the guy that said he worked at Area 51.
Okay.
And he said, he said that, you know, he worked as a scientist there. And he basically was in charge of reverse engineering a crashed alien spaceship. And he spoke in detail about it. He talked about like the engine that it used, and so I guess I was going to ask you if you think he's a hoaxer or if he's real, but if you don't know who he is, then
no.
Then I guess that's not, you know, but
no, it sounds interesting though. I'm definitely going to look into it now.
Yeah, Bob Lazar, yeah.
Cool.
He was on Joe Rogan probably 2 or 3 months ago.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I would check that out.
Yeah. That's a cool podcast.
Yeah, he goes, you know, in detail there. So we'll go into Bigfoot now. Do you think that Bigfoot is possibly real?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Now, one thing I was going to say, too, is that another thing in this area, guys, you know, we live in upstate New York, and
Bigfoot Central.
Yeah, Bigfoot Central.
Bigfoot Central.
And actually, close to where we live here, there was 5 or 6 sightings.
Recently, yeah.
Yeah, recently, and I mean, just in this area seems to be a hot spot, but also about I don't know, not far from where we are in the town of Pauling, New York, there was a Finding Bigfoot episode.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw Finding Bigfoot
Yep.
before. The light just went out. Yeah, so they went there and they did a whole episode on that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but there was a sighting on the Appalachian Trail near Pauling, and Finding Bigfoot went out there, and
that's awesome.
Yeah. So you think they are real, obviously?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you know anybody, or have you ever had any weird? Have you had any? Because you're an outdoorsman, you hunt a lot.
I've been in the woods a lot, and I have never had any experiences like that, other than feeling like you're being followed leaving the woods.
Yeah, I've had that before. Yeah.
But
never had any anything strange.
No.
Footsteps.
No, but I do have a friend that owns a bait shop nearby, and she runs Hudson Valley Bigfoot research.
Okay.
And she is a firm believer, and she's got castings of footprints and stuff.
Really?
And yeah, you know, when you bring evidence like that, it's tough to deny.
Yeah.
It's tough to deny. So I want to learn more about the Bigfoot, you know.
Okay.
I don't know if Vladimir Putin's going to give us that one, but, you know.
Well, he might, I mean.
Yeah, maybe he knows, too.
Yeah, Putin seems to be more of a leader than American leaders are these days, right? All right, so our final questions, we'll just talk about just some random questions here. So a little bit learning a little more about you. So you said I know you, so I know you have a passion for the outdoors, hunting and fishing. Do you want to just talk a little bit about what type of hunting you do, what type of fishing you do?
Oh, sure.
How long you've been doing it? You know, what do you really enjoy? What do you really like? Do you like bow hunting? Do you like muzzle loader?
I love archery season.
Archery season.
You know, you're not freezing in the woods.
Yep.
And you get plenty of hours in the woods. You can get out after work and spend 3 or 4 hours in the woods.
Days are longer.
Yeah, it's nice. I love archery season. Watching the leaves change and the sunsets through the leaves are gorgeous.
Beautiful, yeah, beautiful time of the year.
But archery season for whitetail is probably my favorite. And then fishing, I would say salmon fishing up in the Salmon River.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be one of my favorites. I went up with my son this year and taught him all I knew, and he landed his first couple fish up there this year. So salmon fishing's his new addiction. So I'm sure it's going to be fun in the coming years going back up there with him.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Get a lot of meat out of those, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the average size is 15, 20 pounds.
Yeah, 15, 20 pounds.
That's big, man.
Occasionally you get the 27 to 30s. And then
huge.
And then you never know, brown trout, steelhead.
Right.
Atlantic salmon, cohos, kings. There's such a variety in there.
Smorgasbord.
Yeah, yeah. And when they run, it's a pretty awesome sight.
So if you guys don't know, the Salmon River is it's a river in Oswego, right?
Yeah, it's in western New York.
Yeah, it's like western, yeah, central, around the Syracuse area.
Yep.
And I think they stocked the river a long time ago, or is it
the lake? They come right from Lake Ontario.
Yeah, so they come from Lake Ontario, and you know, it's all kinds of fish, salmon and everything, and I mean, it's like Alaska basically. I mean, it's just tons and tons of salmon everywhere.
It's one of the places you can go outside of Alaska to see a real salmon run like that.
Right. So I think a lot of them are natural, and then some of them they stock in there, like the steelhead.
Yeah, they dumped them in the lake years ago. And they just took off.
So they swim in from the lake and then they spawn in the river, right?
Yeah, and then they'll head. Well, some of the salmon go there really to spawn and die.
Okay.
Some will return to the river, but very few.
Okay.
And the steelhead and things, they just go in there to eat, and then they'll go back to the lake.
Right.
At the top of the Salmon River, there is the Salmon River Hatchery.
Okay.
Where they collect all of the salmon.
Okay.
And they harvest the eggs and the fry from the fish.
Okay.
And that's what they use to repopulate most of the state.
Really?
Yeah, for salmon.
For
salmon all over the state.
All over, like reservoirs.
And brown trout for the state. And,
interesting.
The steelhead also.
Steelhead's cool, right?
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're it's a bit very unique fish, the steelhead, right?
A good opponent on a rod and reel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never caught one. So
they're incredible.
Yeah.
They're incredible. What a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all trout are pretty.
Oh yeah, aggressive.
Now, how are the salmon when you as far as fighters?
Some
compared to like a bass. How would you say?
Similar.
Similar,
but you got a bag of concrete on the end of your line as opposed to a little 5-pound bass.
Yeah.
2-pound
bass.
A 5-pound bass isn't really that little, but it's similar in fight. Sometimes you get the big jumpers. Other times they'll just stay in the water and run you up and run you down. They're just pure muscle.
Okay.
Anytime they want to, they can snap your line.
And I was going to ask you, what kind of tackle do you use? What kind of line do you use?
I use a 9-weight fly rod and reel.
Okay, so what are the regs over there?
You have a single hook with no more than 1/2 inch between the barb and the shank.
Okay. And
you have to have bait on your hook.
Okay.
You can't lift and try and purposely snag a fish.
Yep.
There is really no treble hooks allowed.
Yeah, I know guys that used to do that.
Yeah.
They would tell me they'd go there and yank them out like that.
Yep.
It's really.
Yep. It's a lot more sporting now than it used to be.
And can you use live bait or is it artificial only?
I think you can use live bait.
What do you normally use? What's your...
A piece of sponge balled up that looks kind of like a salmon egg, or I'll actually use an imitation salmon egg.
Okay.
I use the imitation salmon eggs because the steelhead are there to feed on salmon eggs.
Oh, really?
So occasionally you float one down and a steelhead will see it and suck it up.
Okay.
And hold on to your hat.
That's awesome.
Because it's time to go for a ride. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. They can strip a couple 100 yards of line in a second.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And plus on a fly rod, the problem with the fly rods is they're not really meant for long-term fights.
Yeah.
You don't have. Do you really have a drag on your?
I do.
You do have a
well,
drag.
It has a little bit of a drag system, but you do a lot of cupping with the hand and keep your fingers spread because you don't want to catch that handle when it comes back around.
Oh yeah, that's gotta hurt.
Oh, that'll mess you up.
Do you wear leather gloves and stuff?
No.
Okay.
No. We usually bring hand warmers because it's freaking cold.
Cold, right?
It's cold, yeah.
And the season's what, like March, April or something?
For steelhead and things like that, they're catching them up there right now. Steelheads, brown trout. In the wintertime, they're gorgeous. They're very green and red. Beautiful, beautiful fish. In the fall, they're bright, shiny, and chrome.
Okay.
So
that's why they call them steelhead.
Yep. They're really, really cool looking fish. And delicious too.
Yeah, I have never had a steelhead.
The bummer is you can only keep one a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
And salmon you can keep a lot of, right?
I think you get 3 fish up there. In the combination, you can have 2 salmon, 1 steelhead, 2 salmon, 1 trout.
Okay.
But 3 fish, you can keep 3 salmon, but you can't keep more than 1 trout of any species.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay. And let's see. Speaking of outdoors. What's your favorite hunting rifle, and how do you have it set up? Because I know you gun hunt, so...
Yeah, I use a Savage 308.
Okay,
and
bolt?
Yeah, bolt action, and just a 3x9 scope.
Okay.
And a really comfortable sling. I like the neoprene bungee kind of slings.
Yeah.
I want something comfortable when I carry it.
Yeah, because you walk a lot.
Yeah, but I don't, you know, I didn't need the big scope because around here you don't get more
200
than...
yards max.
Oh, I don't
50.
think I've ever squeezed the trigger at 200 yards.
Yeah,
you know,
no, there's no
everything's
way.
100, 150.
Unless you got a farm or something.
Yeah, I have a farm, but it's a very hilly farm.
Right.
So it's chip shots, chip shots everywhere.
Yep.
So I've never needed the big scope.
Right. Yeah, it's not the West.
Yeah.
Different terrain. So the last question is, it's kind of a random one. If there was like one place that you could go to, like a state or a country, a particular area, you know, where would you go? Would it like Alaska or?
Yeah, Alaska.
Or where? Alaska?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Kenai, Alaska,
Kenai?
and
Nice
see the
area.
rivers up there and the real salmon run. You know.
Would you love to fish there? Probably, right?
Oh heck yeah!
That would be cool.
Yeah. I'd
Gotta
bring
watch
my
out
rod
for
and reel.
bears.
Well, that's when I need one of them 500 Magnums. I'll have to bring you with me, so you can watch my back while I'm fishing.
Yeah, man.
Bear patrol, bear patrol.
Bear protection.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's pretty much it for this interview. So thanks for doing the interview.
Not a problem, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And if you guys are interested in his channel, check out Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, and I'll put a link in the box down below. As you see, he's a very good guy, and you know, he's very well-rounded when it comes to prepping, and he's an open-minded person too. So
yeah, I try to be.
You know, he's into like conspiracies and stuff too. So
sure.
that's cool.
Everybody loves a good conspiracy.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a good conspiracy.
So thanks for doing this, and
not a problem. Thank you.
that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere.